The ancient forest on planet Virith was silent that night. No wind moved, no birds sang, and even the glowing insects hid in the trees. Human explorer Darren Holt felt something was wrong the moment he stepped on the cracked stone path leading toward the forgotten temple ruins. The air was colder here, heavy, almost painful to breathe. Walking beside him was the young alien girl Leora, her silver skin shining softly under the pale moonlight. She moved quietly, her eyes focused on the old structure ahead. Unlike Darren, she already knew what waited inside. Her people never spoke of this place, but every child heard the warnings. A temple built before history. A power stronger than any weapon. An artifact that should never wake again. Darren checked his scanner for the 10th time. It showed the same strange reading, waves of unknown energy moving beneath the ground, rising like a heartbeat. Something alive. Something old. Something dangerous. Is this really the place? Darren asked. Leora nodded slowly. Yes, the artifact sleeps below this temple. It is calling again. Her voice carried a sadness he didn't understand. They reached the huge broken doors. Carvings of lost civilizations covered the walls, showing star systems, battles, and tall figures holding glowing spheres. The last carving showed a person kneeling in front of a bright stone. And turning to dust. Darren frowned. What is this? Leora did not look at him. The price of stopping the artifact. Darren felt a cold shock run through his chest. He followed her inside. The interior of the temple was huge and dark. Only their flashlights touched the walls, where shadows twisted and moved like living things. Their footsteps echoed as they walked deeper. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the ground, and every step made the air vibrate, like the temple was waiting for something. Then the ground shook. Darren's light flickered. A deep hum rose from beneath the floor, soft at first, then louder still. Dust fell from the ceiling. Leora froze in place. It has awakened, she whispered. Before Darren could ask what she meant, a blue glow burst from the cracks in the stone floor. The lines of symbols lit up, spreading outward like veins. The hum became a pulse. Boom. Boom. A heartbeat. The artifact was alive. Darren stepped back in shock. What is happening? Leora closed her eyes, tears forming. The temple has recognized me. I cannot run now. What do you mean, recognized you? Darren grabbed her shoulder. Leora, talk to me. She opened her eyes, and he saw fear there, a fear she had been hiding for years. I am the last daughter of the Keeper bloodline, she said softly. My people were connected to the artifact. When it wakes, it calls one of us. Only the chosen Keeper can stop it. How? Darren asked. She looked away. By giving their life. Darren froze. His breath caught in his throat. No, absolutely not. It is the only way, she whispered. My mother tried, but failed. That is why the artifact sleeps only for a short time. When it wakes again, it must be stopped, or the energy inside will break free. It can destroy whole cities. The floor shook again, stronger this time. A blue column of light rose in the center of the temple, like a twisting flame. Darren stepped in front of Leora. There must be another way. There is not, she said. The ancient law is clear. I don't care about ancient laws, Darren said, voice sharp. I'm not letting you die. Leora tried to move past him, but he blocked her again. The temple responded to their argument. The blue light grew brighter, and a chilling wind swirled around them, even though the air was still. The symbols on the ceiling lit up. Something was rising from the floor, something shaped like a large stone heart. A voice echoed through the chamber. Not a human voice. Not an alien voice. Something ancient. Something tired. Something powerful. The chosen one has arrived. Sacrifice must begin before the first light of dawn. Darren's blood turned cold. He could not see the source of the voice, but the power in it made his knees weak. A ghost-like figure appeared near the artifact, tall and transparent, as if made of light. Its eyes glowed white as it looked at Leora. "Child of the Keeper line," it said. "Your life will seal the artifact. Your death will save your world." Leora lowered her head. She did not argue. She did not scream. She simply accepted it. Darren felt his heart break. "No," he said again, stepping forward. "You're not taking her." The ancient figure turned its glowing eyes toward him. "Interference from the outsider will collapse the ritual. If the ritual collapses, the artifact will release its full power." The ground rumbled. The artifact pulsed brighter, like it hungered for a life. Leora whispered, "Please, Darren, let me do this." Darren shook his head. "Never." Before he could say anything else, the temple doors slammed shut behind them. The sound shook the whole structure. The ritual had begun, and dawn was only a few hours away. The sealed temple grew colder as the artifact's blue light spread across the walls. Darren stood between Leora and the glowing core, refusing to step aside. He didn't care what the ancient rules said. He wasn't going to watch her die. But Leora spoke softly, almost like she didn't want to hurt him. "Darren, this is my duty. My people always knew a day like this would come." He turned to her sharply. "Duty shouldn't mean death, Leora." She looked down at her hands. They were trembling. "Sometimes it does." The ancient figure, the guardian spirit, watched them without emotion. "The chosen keeper must give life to stop the rising storm," it said. "Without the sacrifice, the artifact will break its seal and destroy your world." Darren clenched his fists. "There must be another way. You're hiding something." The spirit didn't answer. It only lifted a hand, and the stone floor shifted. A hidden staircase opened beneath them, leading into darkness. "Truth waits below," the spirit said. "But it will not change the chosen fate." Leora hesitated, then stepped toward the stairs. Darren followed close behind, unwilling to leave her alone even for a second. The lower chamber was filled with glowing carvings. The walls told a long story, ancient keepers standing before the artifact, each one facing the same impossible choice. Darren's chest felt tight as he walked deeper. There were drawings of past worlds destroyed by the artifact when no keeper could complete the ritual. Whole cities breaking apart in blue fire. Stars bending. Darkness falling. Leora stared at the drawings with sad eyes. "My people tried many times," she whispered. "Sometimes they succeeded. Sometimes they failed." Darren noticed one carving that was different from the others. It showed two figures standing before the artifact, one keeper and one outsider, like him. The outsider was reaching toward the artifact with open hands. Before he could speak, the spirit appeared again. "Only a true keeper can survive the sacrifice," it said. "An outsider who tries will turn to dust." "So you're telling me no one else can help?" Darren asked. "There's no help. Only destiny." Darren stepped closer to the carving. He touched the outsider figure. "Then explain this. If no outsider can help, why show this image?" For the first time, the spirit hesitated. Leora looked at the carving, confused. I didn't know this existed." The spirit finally spoke. "Long ago, one outsider tried to replace the keeper. His courage was strong, but the artifact rejected him. His energy was not enough." Darren's eyes narrowed. Not enough courage, or not enough something else? A silence followed. Leora's voice trembled. "Darren, please, do not think about taking my place." He didn't answer. His mind was racing. The chamber shifted suddenly. A bright path lit up, showing the center of the ritual platform above them. The artifact pulsed brighter, sensing the rising emotions. The spirit said, "The keeper must face the test before dawn." Leora took a step forward. But Darren grabbed her wrist. "Wait, look at me." She turned reluctantly. Her eyes were full of fear, not for herself, but for him. "You think your life isn't worth saving," Darren said quietly. "You think you're only here to die because someone told you it was your fate." "It is my fate," she whispered. "No," Darren said firmly. "It's a lie built by people who were too afraid to find another answer." Leora shook her head. "You don't understand. The artifact needs life energy. A strong energy. Only my bloodline carries it. Then what is this rune for?" Darren snapped, pointing at the carvings. "Why show courage? Why show outsiders? Why test emotion?" Leora didn't know how to respond. Darren stepped closer. "This isn't about blood. It's about power. Emotional power. Courage, fear, love, loyalty, things the artifact feeds on. What if the real key isn't dying? What if it's feeling?" The spirit suddenly flared with white light. "Enough," it said. "The outsider must not interfere." But Darren saw something in that reaction. Fear. The spirit was afraid he had figured something out. The ground shook harder, and the temple above began to open, revealing the night sky. Time was running out. As they climbed back to the upper chamber, Leora stopped and looked at Darren with wet eyes. "If you try to save me," she whispered, "the artifact will kill you first." Darren held her gaze. "Then it will have to try." The artifact pulsed like a heartbeat. Faster, louder, hungrier. The sacrifice had not begun yet, but the battle for the truth had. The night sky above the temple had turned a strange shade of deep blue, almost like the stars were watching the ritual begin. The artifact's heartbeat grew stronger, echoing through the ruined structure. Every pulse sent a shiver through the air, but Darren wasn't thinking about the stars. He was thinking about Leora, and how to save her. She walked toward the ritual platform with slow, heavy steps, as if each step carried the weight of her entire bloodline. The spirit's warning echoed above them. The chosen one must step forward. The dawn approaches. Leora stayed silent. Her face was calm, but her trembling hands betrayed how scared she truly was. Darren watched her carefully. She had accepted death, but he had not. He clenched his jaw, turning away so the spirit wouldn't see the determination building in his eyes. He had already made a choice. He would not let Leora die, even if the entire galaxy stood against him. The moment Leora reached the first step of the platform, Darren slipped toward the shadows along the wall. The lower chamber carvings played again in his mind drawings, showing outsiders, courage, emotional energy. The artifact reacted to feelings, not blood. That meant there had to be another path. He whispered to himself, "If emotion is the key, then maybe my life force can trigger the seal." But the spirit had said outsiders turn to dust. Darren shook that thought away. "I don't care. I'm not letting her die." He moved quietly, searching for runes or markings he had missed earlier. His scanner blinked with unstable readings, power waves rising fast. Leora noticed him. Her voice was sharp but afraid. "Darren, what are you doing?" He didn't answer. She stepped down from the platform and hurried toward him. "Please, stop. If you interfere, this ritual will break. The artifact will explode." "That means the ritual is flawed," Darren said, his voice low but firm. "If a ritual kills the wrong person and destroys the world when interrupted, then it's not a ritual, it's a trap." Leora froze. "A trap?" The idea shook her, but before she could speak, the guardian spirit appeared between them, its white eyes blazing. "Outsider, leave this sacred ground. Your presence disrupts the balance." Darren didn't step back. "Good. That means I'm close to discovering the truth." The spirit raised its hand, and a shockwave slammed into Darren's chest. He fell to the floor, gasping. Leora cried out and tried to reach him, but a barrier of light blocked her. He must not continue, the spirit said. Even through the pain, Darren laughed. You're scared. Why else would you attack me? The spirit didn't reply, but the trembling in its glowing form revealed everything. Darren sat up slowly, ignoring the ache in his ribs. Leora knelt beside the barrier, reaching toward him, even though she couldn't touch him. Darren. Please, she pleaded. You will die if you keep doing this. And you'll die if I don't, he replied. Her eyes filled with tears. The artifact hummed louder, sensing the rising emotions. Blue light spilled across the floor. Darren lowered his voice. Leora, listen. The carvings showed something important. The artifact reacts to emotional energy, strong emotions. Fear, courage, loyalty. And maybe something even stronger. Leora's heart raced. She whispered, What do you mean stronger? Darren's eyes softened. You know what I mean. Her breath caught. She said nothing, but her silence said everything. The spirit shouted, its voice deep and vibrating the air. Emotional disruption detected. Ritual integrity failing. The keeper must proceed immediately. Leora flinched, torn between two impossible paths, her death or Darren's. She stepped backward toward the platform, trying to regain control of herself. Darren, please don't make this harder. I have to do this. It's the only way. No, Darren said, rising to his feet. It's the way you were told. Not the truth. He looked at the artifact. Its light pulsed slow, then fast, as if listening. Darren placed his hand on his chest. If the artifact needs emotional energy, then I have enough to give. More than enough. Stop. Leora cried, but it was too late. Darren sprinted toward the center of the chamber, toward the glowing core itself. The spirit reacted instantly. Blades of blue light shot from the floor, blocking his path. Interference will not be allowed. But Darren ducked, rolled, and sprinted again. His determination was stronger than his fear. Every step shook Leora's heart. Why are you doing this? She screamed. Darren looked back at her. Because your life matters, Leora, to me. The artifact flashed brighter, almost as if it understood his words. For the first time, Leora froze, not out of fear, but because something warm and painful bloomed inside her chest. He wasn't doing this out of logic, or duty, or heroism. He was doing it because he cared about her. Deeply. Before Darren could reach the glowing core, the temple shook violently. The artifact surged with raw energy. The spirit roared. The outsider has awakened the heart of the artifact. Prepare for the test. A blinding wave of light exploded from the core. And everything went white. For several long seconds, there was nothing but white light, bright, endless, blinding. Darren felt weightless, as if someone had taken his body apart and scattered his thoughts into the wind. Leora screamed his name, but even her voice sounded far away, like it was coming through water. Then the light collapsed. Suddenly, Darren found himself standing in a place that wasn't the temple anymore. The ground beneath him was cracked ash, and the sky above him burned with a deep red flame. Buildings lay shattered. Smoke rose in thick black clouds. His heart froze. This is my home world, he whispered. He recognized the broken tower in the distance, the ruins of his childhood bunker, the place where he lost everything during the war. But this scene wasn't a memory, it was worse. The fire burned hotter, the destruction was deeper. The artifact was showing him a future where he failed. A voice echoed around him. Face your fear, outsider. Your emotions will decide your fate. Darren spun around, fists clenched. The spirit wasn't there. The ruins weren't real. But the pain felt real. The fear felt real. A shadow figure stepped from the smoke, his younger brother. The brother he could never save. Darren, the shadow whispered. Why couldn't you save me? Will you fail again? Darren's chest tightened. His knees weakened. No, he said, stepping back. This isn't real. You're not real. But the shadow smiled sadly. You couldn't save me. And you'll lose her too. The pain of those words pushed into Darren's heart like a knife dot. At the same time, Leora stood in a different vision. She was inside the same temple, but the walls were darker, covered in ancient dust. The blue light was gone. Only a single beam of golden energy lit the room, and in that beam lay a woman, her mother. Leora gasped and stumbled forward. Mother? Her mother lifted her head, weak and fading. Leora, child. You came. Tears filled Leora's eyes. I thought you were dead. The elders said you failed the ritual. Her mother shook her head gently. I did fail, but not because the artifact defeated me. I failed because I did not want to leave you alone. Leora fell to her knees. Then why did you come here? Why did you try to give your life? Her mother stretched out a fading hand. Because the world believed only sacrifice brings safety. We were taught to obey. We were never taught to question. Leora felt her chest burn with fear and anger. Then, was everything a lie? Her mother's face blurred like smoke. Find the truth, my child. Do not follow my path. The golden beam vanished. Leora stood alone in darkness, her heart pounding. The artifact was showing her the fear she never wanted to face, that her life had been shaped by a false destiny. Then, the two visions began to break apart. Darren stood firm, fists clenched, tears burning in his eyes. Leora stood strong, back straight, her fear turning into resolve. Their voices cut through their illusions at the same time. This fear is not real. Darren growled. This destiny is not real. Leora whispered. The visions shattered like glass. The next moment, both of them were thrown back into the real temple chamber. The artifact pulsed violently, as if angry that its test hadn't broken them. Darren dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Leora rushed to him, collapsing beside him. Darren, are you all right? He looked at her, still trembling, still shaken. It showed me what I fear most. Losing you. Leora's breath caught. She touched his face gently. It showed me my mother. It showed me that my sacrifice might never have been needed. The artifact boomed like thunder. The test is not complete. Huge cracks spread across the chamber floor. Rivers of blue light spilled out. The temple roared like a storm. Darren pulled Leora into his arms and shielded her as debris rained down. Then the artifact spoke again. Choose who will face the final trial. The spirit reappeared, its form shaking, unstable. Keeper, it said to Leora, you were born for this. Step forward. No, Darren said, rising unsteadily to his feet. I'm not letting her do this. The spirit glared at him. Outsider, your emotions are strong, but they are not enough. Darren took a step forward anyway. Then I'll make them enough. Leora grabbed his arm, voice shaking. Darren, please don't. He looked at her with a calm, heartbreaking smile. Leora, I would rather die trying to save you than live in a world without you. The artifact hummed louder, reacting to his words, its core swirling with dangerous power. Leora felt her heart shatter and rebuild at the same time. He wasn't fighting the artifact anymore. He was fighting fate itself, and fate was about to strike back. The artifact's blue core spun faster, its heartbeat now loud enough to shake dust from the ceiling. Dawn was close. The temple walls began to glow with golden crack signs that the final ritual stage had already begun. Leora stared at the rising energy, her heart sinking. We're running out of time. Darren's jaw tightened. Then we move faster. The guardian spirit floated above the glowing platform, its voice echoing through the chamber. Keeper of the bloodline, the hour is near. Step forward. Complete the sacrifice. Leora's legs trembled. She had spent her whole life trying to forget this moment. But fate didn't forget her. She turned to Darren one last time. If I don't do this, cities will burn. Worlds will fall. I cannot let that happen. You dying won't save the galaxy, Darren shot back. It'll only destroy me. She closed her eyes at his words. The artifact shivered, reacting to the spike of emotion between them. The ground split open, and a golden bridge formed leading directly to the ritual platform. The air grew hotter with each passing second. Outside, the first thin line of dawn touched the edge of the sky. The spirit spread its arms. The moment has come. One life to seal the storm. Leora stepped onto the bridge, but before Darren could grab her, a force pushed him back, throwing him to the floor. Leora! He shouted. She forced a small smile through her tears. Darren, thank you for caring. But this is my path. No! He yelled, scrambling to stand. This is a lie someone forced on you. You don't have to die for a mistake made by ancient people. Her voice broke. But if I don't, the artifact will release its power and destroy everything. Darren looked at the spinning core. The blue light wasn't stable. It looked hungry, uncontrolled, confused. Then it means the artifact was never meant to kill. Darren said slowly, it was meant to judge, to test, maybe even learn from emotion. Leora hesitated. That doubt, the first real doubt, appeared in her eyes, but the spirit roared. Do not question the ritual. The entire temple shook violently. Darren didn't think. He ran. He sprinted up the golden bridge, dodging the exploding beams of light that shot toward him. The artifact reacted to his determination, the core spinning faster with each step he took. Darren, stop! Leora cried, her voice high with fear. If you enter the core, you'll die before I do. Good, he said without slowing. Then it won't take you. The spirit blocked his path, its form expanding into a blinding wall. Outsider, you cannot take her place. Darren yelled back, try and stop me. He pushed forward with all his strength. The spirit hit him with a shockwave so strong his vision blurred and blood filled his mouth. But Darren kept moving. He had lost too much in his life already. He wasn't going to lose her. Leora felt her heart tearing apart. She had never cried like this before, not even when she lost her mother, Darren. Please, she whispered. Don't do this for me. He looked at her broken but unshaken. I'm doing this because I choose you. The artifact pulsed so hard the temple nearly cracked open. At the top of the platform, the core of the artifact glowed like a swirling sun. It released a deep, resonating hum that stretched through every stone of the temple. Leora stepped toward it. Darren grabbed her wrist, pulling her back. Their faces were inches apart. Let me go, she whispered. No. Darren, if the artifact doesn't get a life before sunrise, it doesn't need your life, he said, breathing hard. It needs your heart, your emotions, your strength. And yours, she said softly. But if it takes you, Darren gently pressed his forehead to hers. You won't lose me. Not today. Not like this. The artifact blazed with light. Energy wrapped around them like a storm, pulling them toward the core. The spirit screamed. The ritual is breaking. Balance failing. But neither of them let go. Darren made the final decision. He stepped inside the swirling energy first. The moment he crossed the threshold, the artifact reacted violently. Blue lightning shot upward. The temple floor cracked wide open. The sky turned white. Leora screamed, reaching for him. Darren! He didn't turn back. He reached toward the core, offering not his life, but his emotion, his fear, his loyalty, his love. The artifact paused. For the first time. It hesitated. The dawn light touched the horizon, and the artifact released a shockwave, so powerful the entire world shook. Everything turned white. For a long moment. There was no sound, only blinding white light swallowing everything. Then slowly shapes returned. The world rebuilt itself. Darren opened his eyes. He was floating inside the artifact, not on the platform. Not in the temple. Inside the glowing heart itself. Energy spiraled around him like streams of living water. He felt weightless, but he wasn't dying. The artifact wasn't crushing him. It was reading him. Memories flashed around him, moments from his past, his childhood home, his brother's laughter, the day he lost everything, the moment he met Liora. Every emotion he ever felt, fear, pain, loyalty, hope, filled the chamber like light. A voice spoke, but this time it wasn't the spirit. It was the artifact itself. Outsider, your heart carries strength. Why do you offer it? Darren clenched his fists. To save her. To save this world. The artifact pulsed. You give emotion freely. Not forced. Not taken. Images shifted again, showing ancient keepers standing before the artifact, trembling as they offered their lives. The ritual was never meant to steal life, the artifact said. It was built to measure the heart. Darren froze. All this time, the sacrifice wasn't real. The ancient people had misunderstood it, twisted it, feared it. Darren whispered, so no one had to die? The artifact glowed brighter. Only in darkness do people believe death is the strongest power. But the real power is the strength of emotion. Outside, Liora crawled toward the core opening, tears running down her face. Darren, please answer me. She reached the edge, but a shockwave threw her back. The artifact wasn't rejecting her this time. It was protecting her. The guardian spirit flickered beside her, its form unstable, cracking like broken light. You were not meant to see this, the spirit whispered weakly. Liora glared at it. You lied to me. You lied to all of us. The spirit trembled. We preserved the ritual as we understood it. But we misunderstood much. Liora stood up on shaking legs. My mother died believing she had to give her life. The spirit lowered its head. Her heart was strong. The artifact accepted her emotions. But her body was too weak to survive the test. Liora's breath shook. So courage wasn't the cost. It was the key. Yes, the spirit whispered. But fear twisted the truth over centuries. And sacrifice became the story people believed. Inside the artifact, Darren felt the core pulling him deeper. It asked him again, why do you offer your emotions? He shouted without hesitation, because Liora's life is worth everything. The artifact paused. Light swirled around him faster. Energy snaked through his arms, filling him with a warm, powerful force. Your fear is strong, but your love is stronger. Darren's chest tightened, not from pain, but from truth. These feelings he had tried to hide now burned openly. The artifact pulsed like a vast heartbeat. A keeper's destiny is not death, but connection. Two hearts can close the seal. No life must be taken. Darren's eyes widened. Two hearts. Liora and me? Before he could react, a beam of golden light shot outward straight toward Liora. Liora gasped as the light wrapped around her like a soft ribbon. Instead of burning her, it lifted her gently into the air. She floated toward the core opening, her body glowing with the same warm energy. Darren, I'm coming, she whispered. For the first time, the artifact opened willingly. She drifted inside and saw Darren suspended in the swirling light. Relief hit her like a wave. You're alive. He gave a weak smile. Still here. When she reached him, the artifact reacted instantly. The light between them grew brighter golden now, not blue. Darren reached out his hand. Liora, the artifact doesn't want death. It wants unity. It wants connection. Liora held his hand tightly. Their joined emotions, fear, courage, grief, hope. Love flowed through the artifact like a river. The core shook violently. Outside, the temple trembled. The guardian spirit stared in awe. The true trial. It murmured. At last. Completed. The artifact's blue energy turned into a brilliant golden storm. The entire chamber filled with radiant light. The cracks in the temple walls sealed. The sky outside calmed. The dawn paused on the horizon, as if watching them. Darren held Leora's hand firmly. She squeezed back. Are we going to die? She whispered. No, Darren said softly. We're going to set the artifact free. The core exploded with light, a gentle explosion, filled with warmth. Not destruction. The artifact's heart dissolved into golden dust. The storm faded. Darren and Leora fell back onto the platform together. Alive. Breathing. Safe. But the world around them had changed, and something new had awakened beneath the ruins. The golden dust slowly settled over the temple like soft falling snow. The artifact, the ancient force feared for thousands of years, was gone. Its heartbeat had fallen silent. For a moment, nothing moved. Darren lay on the stone floor, breathing heavily. His body ached, but he was alive. He lifted his hand weakly and felt someone grab it. Liora. She was beside him, also shaken but unharmed. Her silver skin glowed faintly from the artifact's energy, and her eyes shimmered with relief. Darren, she whispered, her voice breaking. You survived, he smiled softly. So did you. They sat up slowly, leaning against each other for support. The rising dawn light spilled into the temple, warm and gentle. The golden glow from the artifact faded like morning mist. Leora placed a trembling hand on her chest. All my life, they told me the artifact needed my death. Darren turned to her. They didn't lie on purpose. They were scared. Fear turns truth into shadows. She looked around the room, sadness and hope mixing in her eyes. Then my mother. She didn't have to die, did she? Darren held her hand. She didn't know the truth, but you learned it. You finished what she started. Leora lowered her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. I wish she could see this. She can, Darren said quietly, in you. The guardian spirit appeared nearby, but this time it wasn't glowing with power. Its form flickered gently, like a candle growing dim. Keeper. Outsider. The spirit spoke softly. You have done what no one in ages could. You learned the artifact's true purpose. Leora wiped her tears. Why did you let the lie continue? The spirit bowed its head. Because we did not fully understand the truth. We guarded the temple as the ancient records showed, but we were wrong. Darren stood, supporting Leora as they faced the fading spirit. What now? Darren asked. The spirit's light dimmed further. The artifact was never a weapon. It was a guardian, a healer, meant to anchor balance through shared emotion. But the fear of past generations reshaped the ritual into a story of death. Leora stepped closer. And now that we completed the true ritual, what happens next? The spirit paused. Then it said something neither expected. A new guardian must rise. Darren blinked. Guardian? The spirit turned to Leora. The artifact chose you, not for sacrifice, but for leadership. Your heart connected with its truth. You are now the keeper of balance. Leora stepped back in shock. Me? No, the spirit said. You are more than a bloodline. You are courage. You are compassion, and you faced your deepest fear without running. Leora's throat tightened. She wasn't being asked to die anymore. She was being asked to live, with purpose. Darren squeezed her shoulder gently. Leora, you deserve this. And your mother would be proud. The spirit looked at Darren next. And you, outsider. Your emotions awakened the artifact's heart. Your love and loyalty created a connection strong enough to rebuild the seal. Without you, the galaxy would not have been saved. Darren swallowed, looking away. I only did what I had to. No, the spirit said softly. You did what your heart chose. For the first time, the spirit smiled. It was brief, faint, but real. Its form flickered one last time. My purpose is complete. The temple no longer needs a guardian like me. It bowed respectfully. Guard each other well. Then the spirit dissolved into sparks of light. Leora watched the sparks drift upward, tears in her eyes. After the spirit faded, silence filled the temple. The weight of danger was gone. The fear was gone. Only warmth remained. Darren finally broke the quiet. So, guardian of balance, huh? Leora gave a shy, small smile. I didn't ask for it. Most great leaders don't, Darren replied, shrugging. But they rise anyway. She looked at him with a soft seriousness. Will you stay? Will you help me understand this new power? Darren stepped closer until their hands touched again. I'm not going anywhere, he said gently. Wherever you go, I go. Leora's eyes widened, her breath catching. Darren, he smiled. The artifact said it, didn't it? Our hearts. They're connected now. The rising dawn cast golden light across their faces. A new day, a new balance, a new future. And as they walked out of the temple together, hand in hand, the ground trembled softly beneath them. Leora turned back. A second chamber door, one that had never opened before, slowly slid apart. Inside was another artifact. Smaller, sleeping, waiting. Darren exhaled. Well, that looks like trouble. Leora smiled for the first time with true confidence. Then we will face it together. And their story, the real story, was only just beginning.